Hi, and welcome to the third edition of our Demystifying Digital series. And today's discussion is about a question that I have been contemplating over the last 2 years in my work on digital. It is about what creates a digital leader and how is a digital leader significantly different from classical leader in terms of a leader who led analog business. Now, while trying to solve this question, I thought I'll do a discussion rather than use a PPT or any such prop. And we all recognize that leadership could be a complex and a vast subject, and therefore I define leadership using three vectors. One is the ability to define and articulate a strategy, which is a strategic component of leadership. The second component being how to make money and make money consistently over periods of time across industry cycles and so on and so forth, which is the ability to define the business model, allocate resources, and make strategic choices. And the third is leading transformation, which is remaining contemporary so that you can ward off threats from technologies, other business models, and so on and so forth. So, to repeat, leadership, again, in the context of this discussion, has three components: strategic element to define strategy, second is business model innovation, and third is leading transformation. Now, if we use those three vectors and we start with the strategic element of leadership to start with, so we say that how do we define strategy? Now, if we define strategy in the classical Porterian sense, is our ability to compete to be unique versus competing to be the best. Therefore, a leader in either a digital or an analog environment will labor to serve his customers better, or the segment or the market that he chooses to do it better and more sustainably. So if that be the definition, then I don't think there is much of a difference between much of a difference in the case of strategic leadership between digital and the analog world. So that I will keep aside. Now, when I come about the next quadrant or the next vector of our discussion around leadership is the ability to make money consistently and consistently over industry cycles and remain profitable, which is business model. I would implore a leader to ask three fundamental questions. One is digital technologies fundamentally going to change the way we're going to sell and manufacture our products? The second question is to say that in our industry, generally speaking, would digital transform our products into services and experiences? And the third is, are companies which are digital natives going to attack us in such a way that our value chain is going to be disintermediated and remove off from our customers? Now, this has happened. This has happened in multiple industries, in FMCG, in CPG, and maybe probably in BFSI, where digital natives have actually disaggregated the value chain and created D2C models and substantial disruption in the industry. Now, having said so, if I were to kind of understand this with an example, imagine a company in agriculture. An agriculture who uses geospatial technologies, geological data, and meteorological data with its understanding of seeds, chemical compounds, and agri sciences, and bundle the knowledge component with the chemistry to deliver a bundled product to the agriculturist. It fundamentally transforms the model from being an input or a product model to a services model. Now, this has actually happened in industries. Now, these kind of models where the business model is redefined through imagination and use of technologies is what we see in great companies like Asia Brown Boveri, where an electrical engineering major has transformed itself into a player across multiple segments using technology. It's called ABB Ability. You can find it in their ABB website. There's a great definition around it. Or, for instance, a company like Caterpillar, which uses an ecosystem called Cat Connect, which is an app under which they have created a bundled set of services where through connected devices they sell performance data of their products to their customers to help the customers do better. So essentially, they monetize the performance data of the products they have manufactured. Similarly, you will see Bosch transforming itself from auto component company to world's greatest IoT services company. IoT service, products and services company. The fundamental point that I'm making, that while the strategic element of leadership may or may not change, and that's not part of the discussion, but the business model element where you use technology and use of the technology in a particular context to meet unmet needs of a customer is a very significant change in leadership capabilities. So the leaders of the future are not only going to be strategists or business model innovators in a sense that they were in the past. There you go to use technology to innovate business model, either to fundamentally change the core of the business or create value in adjacencies. Now, coming to the third dimension of leadership that we talked about when we started this conversation is around leadership, is around managing transformation. The classical transformation process is long cycle change in terms of finding change agentry, communicating change, making changes in structures, and so on and so forth, will now hitherto change into agile transformation models, lean systems, fundamental change in organization structures, and so on and so forth. Now, therefore, coming back to the question that we started off, how does a digital leader look different from a leader in a classical sense? In terms of the three vectors that we described, the strategic element of leadership probably remains the same. Business model element fundamentally and radically changes. You've got to understand technology and the implications of technology in your sector and how your sector is going to be disrupted, and therefore stay ahead of competition and create an advantage to be able to make money sustainably and consistently. And the third element, which is how do I lead transformation, is also going to significantly change in terms of the intensity of transformation and the pace of transformation. So therefore, for young managers who wish to become digital leaders, it is or leaders or general managers in the digital world, it is imperative to understand the technologies and not the details of the technology, but the implications of the technology in their sector. Now, stay tuned to many videos around artificial intelligence, machine learning, and IoT, which will come across, which we will develop over the next months in this channel. If you like the channel, share, like, and comment as you deem fit. Hope to see you soon, and thank you very much for watching.